Hey guys, it's Nicole from Patient Excel, your dental growth partner, and today I'm going to be talking about how to get new patients for your dental practice consistently online using paid advertisements. Now, there are a ton of different platforms today that you can run paid advertisements on, but in today's video, we're going to be focusing on Meta Ads, which is Instagram and Facebook. So in order to capture a lead on the Instagram and Facebook platform, you'll have them go through what's called a lead form. Now, with lead forms, there are two options. There's the in-app lead form, which is on the actual platform. And when utilizing these types of lead forms, you'll typically get a higher volume of leads, but these leads will have lower intent and be less qualified. And that's because the way native lead forms work on the platform is there is an option for the lead to just autofill their information. So they're not spending a ton of time looking through the lead form, putting thought into answering your questions that you may have on your lead form, and they're never actually leaving the platform itself. They're just staying on Facebook or Instagram. Now, the other option you have for lead forms is a landing page. So once they see the ad, they click your call to action button, which may be learn more or book now. They'll be rerouted to a landing page. So a landing page is a really good option because it provides the opportunity to pre-educate the patient. So what you can actually do is build out a landing page that not only talks about the service you're promoting and pre-educates the patient on that service, but you can also start to build some trust by showcasing core values at your practice or getting to know the doctor a little bit, getting to know the team there at your practice. You can even include 5-star reviews on your landing page, and that kind of helps to start building trust prior to the lead ever even becoming a lead, or if they're exploring the landing page after they've provided their information. It's just an opportunity to not only pre-educate, but build trust in the eyes of the patient before they even speak to somebody on your team. And now what you can also utilize in a landing page is a pre-qualification quiz. So now they're not only filling out their information, but you have them go through a series of questions that can qualify them, where you can learn more about their current dental situation. And if you're doing a higher ticket treatment, you can even kind of pre-qualify them with financial questions. The landing page is a really good option if you want to go ahead and pre-educate and pre-qualify the leads. And the only thing with that, though, is you will get a lower volume of leads, but at the end of the day, they have more intent and they're more qualified. So that's what really matters, right? Now, you want to set up that after the lead has entered their information, they enter and populate into your CRM. And it's really crucial to have one of these set up so that you can track your lead status, as well as have a place that you can actually communicate and contact the leads. You can set up all your different systems and automations so that you can have everything organized and dialed in. So the first thing that you want to have set up in your CRM is an internal notification. So you want an email to be sent out to your team that notifies your team that a new lead has actually entered into the system. And this is super important because this is going to tie back into your speed to lead. Now, here at Patient Excel and really across the industry, you want to have a speed to lead that's within 1 to 2 minutes, and ideally, you want it to be as soon as possible. So you want to be able to dial that lead, get on the phone with them as soon as possible while you still have their attention before they end up in the doom scroll and their mind is already off the treatment that they expressed interest in. And now to really ensure that you are implementing speed to lead, you need to have a dedicated caller. So you don't want to assign one of your front desk staff who already have their 8-hour workday with a bunch of different tasks. That's really not going to be effective in the long run because realistically, if their hands are full and a new lead comes in, they're not going to be able to dial in 1 to 2 minutes, and that could cause you to completely lose the lead. So setting up an internal notification and having a dedicated caller ensures that you can have speed to lead. So obviously, in terms of communication, calls are preferred over texts, which are preferred over emails. And that's why speed to lead is crucial because you're getting them on the phone, you're able to talk to them, build rapport, and learn about their dental situation, qualify them, and schedule them. But you also want to make sure that you have texts and emails set up to also communicate with the lead in case they're not answering that initial phone call. So some external notifications that you want to have set up is the automatic email and text that goes out when they submit their information. That just lets them know that their information was received by your dental practice. You want to make sure that you have the next steps included within these external notifications because that gives them something to look forward to and something to look out for coming in the near future. Now, if you do have good speed to lead, you'll likely call them before they're even able to read the next step, but it is important to still have it in there. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on one of these notifications so you can get an idea on what our external notifications looks like. This is an email and a text message that was sent out for one of our partners when a new lead entered the system. It's just letting them know that their information was received and includes that next steps within it. So this gives them the option that if they are a higher intent lead and they want to go ahead and get scheduled right away, they really like what you showcase to them in your advertisement and on your landing page, they have the option to call you perhaps before you even get to call them. And then the text is similar, but obviously much shorter. So this is starting to engage them in a text conversation that can help warm them up prior to a phone call. All right, and then zooming back out. So now in the case that the lead came in, they got their information received email and text message, and you're having your dedicated caller follow that speed to lead protocol and you're getting them on the phone. Now in the case that they answer, you're gonna go ahead and go through your call structure with them. If you don't feel confident about the call structure that you currently have implemented for your dental practice, make sure to check out the video that I have linked in the description, and it walks you through exactly what you need to do to help increase the chance of that lead going ahead and scheduling an appointment, and not only scheduling, but actually showing up. So make sure to check that video. I'll link it again in the description. Just to run through this quickly though, if they do answer, what you want to start off with is stating the reason for the call, and you want to frame it in a way that you're doing exactly what they asked for. They asked for more information. They wanted to be in contact with you. You're calling because they inquired about the service that you're currently promoting. And then you want to go ahead and build rapport. You want to learn about their current dental situation, and you want to really start to build that relationship and trust with the lead at this point. And then after you've done that relationship building, you can go ahead and qualify the lead. So this is where you want to ask if your location is good for them, if they have dental insurance. You can ask financial questions, check their credit score if you're doing higher ticket treatments. You can learn about their job occupation, and you can make sure they're cost aware for the service that you are currently promoting. Now, if they are qualified, this is where you're going to go ahead and book your appointment. And you want to make sure when you book your appointment that you have appointment reminders set in place. So as soon as that appointment is booked, they get a confirmation text, as well as all the days leading up to their appointment. You want to make sure they're reminded of that appointment, and that helps with that show rate. Hey guys, just adding a side note in here. So ideally you should have same day or next day appointments, but if not, at a minimum, you should have same week appointments to help increase that show rate and decrease the odds of no-shows. And then what you can even do is after you've built that relationship and after you've qualified them, you've determined they're a good patient to be seen at your practice, you can even get a credit card on file. But it is important to only get the credit card on file after you've spent time with them on the phone, you've built that relationship, and you've also already given them their appointment slot. Then you can secure that credit card on file, and you can indicate that you either have a no-show policy or an appointment reservation policy. And then from there, they're going to show up to your practice and you get to close on a new case. Now, if you got on the phone with them, you went through the whole call structure process, you got to the qualification part of the call and you determined they're not qualified, what you want to go ahead and do is determine if they have potential to convert in the future or not. If they have potential to convert in the future, you want to make sure you enter them into a nurture sequence so that when they are ready to move forward with treatment, they may have gotten their finances situated, that you are still one of their options. Now, if you determine that there is no potential to convert in the future, this is where you can go ahead and move that lead into inactive. And I will touch in just a moment what I mean by inactive. That's just a lead stage we use here at Patient Excel, but I will define that to you when I show you the importance of lead status tracking. So in the case you did your speed to lead and you didn't get them to answer the phone, this is where you want to ensure that you have a rigorous follow-up system set in place. So just because they didn't answer that phone on that first phone call doesn't mean you just give up there, right? You want to actually attempt to call them upwards of 10 plus times before you determine this is not somebody I can get in contact with. And not only do you want to attempt to call them 10 plus times, but you also want to put them into a weekly nurture sequence with even potentially an AI conversation follow-up bot. So what I mean by this is if they didn't answer that phone call, what they're going to do is they're going to get a message weekly. And in that weekly nurture sequence, you want to be reminding them of what they inquired about, or you can start to kind of showcase some unique USPs that you have at your practice. So here at our practice, we treat patients like family, and we're committed to top-notch care. Things like that remind them of your practice, that maybe if they didn't answer the phone right away, maybe if they're not ready right now to go ahead and schedule their appointment, they're still being reminded of you, and this can increase the chance that in the future when they are ready, that you'll be one of the options that they consider going to. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is zoom in again so I can show you an example of the nurture sequence we have set for our partners. So this is an example of a lead who came in, and we are trying to get in contact with them. So we send them follow-up text messages, and we're not only sending text messages, we're actually having that supplemented with our phone calls to try and get in contact with them. And then the point of having that AI conversation follow-up bot is because in the case that they respond and one of your team members are not actively monitoring the conversation to see that they responded, you can have a backup in place that you have some sort of response that goes back to them if they did respond to one of your nurture messages. And once one of your team members sees that they did respond to one of the nurture messages, you then want to go ahead and you want to implement back your speed to lead. So as soon as they respond, you want to go ahead and call them, try to get them on the phone, and then go through your call structure, determine if they're qualified and get them scheduled, or classify them as someone who may convert in the future or someone who's not a good candidate for your practice. All right, and then lastly, what I want to go ahead and walk you guys through is the importance of lead status tracking. So in order to run a profitable campaign on the Meta platform, you really need to have your tracking dialed in. Now you could have a really high volume of leads coming in, and that's of course dependent on your lead capture method, your offer that you're currently promoting, the creatives you have running. There's a lot that goes into it, but if you have a high volume of leads coming in, or even not a high volume of leads coming in, you want to make sure you're tracking the status of your leads and seeing where they are within the follow-up process, within the scheduling process. You want to make sure you have that dialed in, because doing that will ensure that you're able to track your ROI. You can see where within your system you may have a weak spot. You can go ahead and improve and fix for the future so that you can make your campaign the most profitable. So here at Patient Excel, what we do for our partners is we have two methods of tracking our lead status. So the first thing I'm going to walk you through is our CRM tracking. So within our CRM, we have what's called a pipeline, and this is where the leads will originally enter in. So when a lead enters into the system, they'll automatically populate under hot new leads. And then if they are responding to our AI nurture bot, they automatically move under responded to Molly. That's the name of our AI bot, and we classify that as a warm lead. Now, throughout your follow-up process, like I said, you're going to be making many phone call attempts, and that's crucial because they might not always answer on that first call. So what we have then is a series of stages for the amount of calls you're making. So if you've tried to call them once, they end up under call 1. Then the second time you call them, you also want to supplement that with a personalized text message. And you want to do that all the way through call 7+. Once they get to call 7+, I would suggest trying to call them 3 more times. And if you still have had no form of response back from them, then you can go ahead and classify them as an active, which is somebody that you're not able to get in contact with. If they scheduled their appointment, you want to have a stage for that. If they came in for their appointment, but they just haven't converted yet into a paying patient, you want to be able to organize and track that. You have a canceled appointment stage and a no-show for scheduled appointment stage. You have a paying patient stage, and then lastly, you have an inactive and invalid lead stage. Now to kind of give you a visual of what that looks like within the pipeline, go ahead and zoom out a little bit. So here's an example of what that would look like in the pipeline. So this is for one of our clients, and here we can see under the requested call back at a later time stage, you can see how they're organized visually within this. It makes it super easy to manage and just know where in your system and where in your sales process these leads are. And it also helps because you know which leads need a little bit more attention than others. And then another way we track here at Patient Excel is using Google Sheets. And we have this really cool Google Sheet built out for our partners. And this way we can collaborate in one place and we know exactly what is happening with each lead. So we have this set up that when a lead enters into our system, their name, phone number, and email, as well as the date we received their information, this all automatically populates. And then what we do is once we get on the phone with them and we're able to schedule an appointment, we put what day they're scheduled for, if we've got a credit card on file or not, and any additional notes that the dental practice will find useful. And then we also send a confirmation text of their appointment out to them, and if they responded back and confirmed to our confirmation text, we write that down as well. Now, what we ask for our partners to fill out is simply if they showed up to their appointment, if they became a paying patient, if they were approved for a credit plan, if you're running those higher ticket treatments, and what the treatment value was. If they have any other notes, we also have a spot for that. Now, of course, if you're doing this in-house at your practice, you wouldn't have a need to have two separate sections, but it could be useful to have your dedicated caller fill out everything in blue, and then those who actually work with the patient when they come in for the appointment fill out everything in green. So my point of showing this to you is that tracking is really important, and there are a lot of good tools out there that you can use to make sure you have your tracking dialed in. And the reason for having your lead status tracking set in place is to ensure that you have your lead follow-ups systemized. Having it systemized and having it dialed in is going to be one of the key differences in running a profitable versus non-profitable campaign. So with that, I know that was a ton of information. We covered a lot of good things in this video, but having all these systems dialed in and taking the information covered in this video is super important to run an effective paid ads campaign on the Meta platform. If you have any questions or need any guidance on how to set this up for your practice or how to implement these systems into your current marketing, please don't hesitate to book a call with us. I'll link in the description a place where you can access our booking calendar to get in a meeting with us, and we'd be more than happy to walk you through how to implement these systems for your practice. And that is it until the next video.